Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Sarcasm Speaks. It's Jared and Bob here. This is, I mean, it's only been minutes for us, but it's been a couple days for you guys. So this is kind of, in a way, sort of piggybacking off of the theme of the previous episode, of information that we get that we're not really super surprised of, but it's still kind of gives you a quick like oh shit moment, right? So um I haven't watched the OJ documentary on Netflix. Have you? Like
I have not.
OJ Simpson. Um so they did a Netflix documentary on him um posthumously, right? After he died last year. So I was listening to it was either Drinking Bros or Ross Patterson Revolution. It was one of them. Because Ross was on it and he brought up something that happened and he watched the doc, right? He watched the OJ doc and he said that at the, in the last 20 minutes, he goes, you can fast forward through most of it and just watch the last 20 minutes. He goes, the first part of it is like everything we already know. He goes, the last 20 minutes is actually super fascinating. And he said that there's a segment that um, they have his agent, OJ Simpson's former agent, right? So he's in the documentary. They're asking him questions, right? He's given some answers and all this stuff. So this is after OJ is dead. Again, they asked him, what's the deal? Is there anything lasting, right? That stayed with you, with OJ Simpson? And he goes, yeah. So I got a story for you. And he said, after he was bankrupted, right? And they were going to take everything away from him. The house is gone, all this stuff. They've taken everything, the cars, the clothes, the money, everything's gone. He goes, we were sitting in his backyard with our feet in the pool one night. Everything's packed up in the house, ready to get out of there. And he goes, I asked him, OJ, I gotta know what happened, man. Like what really happened? And he's telling the story, and OJ turns to him and goes, like Ross goes, there's a long pause, right? And then OJ turns and goes, if only she wouldn't have answered the door with that fucking knife. He goes, none of it would have happened. And the agent was like, okay, all right. And he goes, he dropped him as a client the next day. He never worked with him ever again. He wanted nothing to do with him, but he kept his mouth shut all those years until OJ was dead. And it came up in a documentary. And they asked him, like, anything, any lasting memories or whatever. And the agent told that story on camera on the Netflix documentary. They're sitting in the pool. He asks OJ what really happened. And OJ just goes, if only she didn't answer the door with that fucking knife, none of that would have ever happened.
Just vague enough too.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, piggybacking off of the last episode, information that we always already knew, um, but getting it confirmed.
Big. So again, though, like to split hairs and argue semantics, that is at least the smoking gun again, right? Like when it comes to the JFK stuff, it's like we're left to still draw our own conclusions. So if someone wants to be an insufferable asshole, no one can dispute it,
Right.
except with opinion. Except with opinion. And it's the same thing with
Fair.
the OJ. It's like, well, we don't know that he said that. That could have been dramatized for the documentary, but it's like let's just assume that that clip is true.
Right.
It's right there.
Yeah.
With JFK, it's like we're still left to our own reading comprehension, which with these people, not high.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's like with OJ, the funniest, like, well, he wrote a book saying like if I had done it, it's like the fuck or whatever it was.
Right. Yeah. If I did it.
It's like
And the
what
if
the
was in a
fuck?
different color.
Yeah,
So it's like,
there was your cry for help.
yeah. So it's like I did it was in one color and the if was in a different color.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if the glove don't fit, right?
the Chewbacca defense.
Yeah, it's just all kind of craziness, but now we have it, right? I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna watch. I probably won't watch the documentary. Um, if I do, I would.
Sounds like I've heard everything I need to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
Did
Like I
that
said,
just come out? Like, why is that not a bigger deal?
I think it did just recently come out.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it's not that big of a deal right now because he's dead, and everyone is too busy focused on Trump and Musk and Tesla and all this other shit that's in the news. Like people don't care about that anymore, right?
Well,
Like,
yeah, I was say he's dead. They're all like everyone's dead.
yeah, yeah, literally. Like Nicole Brown's dead, right? Like the boyfriend. So yeah, I mean, if Rob Kardashian's dead, OJ's dead now. I mean, obviously the agent is still alive, but to tell that story. But yeah, good on the agent though, right? Dropped him as a client, never wanted anything to do with them ever again, but kept his fucking mouth shut until OJ died.
Probably a reason why.
Well, yeah.
I'm guessing it was probably quite valuable to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Well, especially like, the guy is a murderer. So what are you gonna
True.
rat him out?
You did it once, you do it again. So, if I did it, well, now we know. Uh, what the fuck else is going on? Oh, that's right. I got this one thing. This is hilarious. I forgot about this. So I had to like write it down when I was at lunch the other day, at work because I wanted to make sure that I remembered like certain parts of it. So we've talked before, right, about my retardation and like my ability to like sit somewhere but like hear other people talking and like understand what's going on in other areas, right? Like because I'm just a moron. Um, so we were at lunch last week. It was probably Wednesday, as everyone was there. We're sitting at the table, everyone's kind of chatting up, and I hear at the table next to us like something weird. I hear this guy talking like fitness and protein and all this stuff. And I go, what the fuck? So I just kind of like glance over and I see this fucking stiff dude, this like absolute jabroni he's like sitting in the chair like this with his arm back, like while he's got like these other people around the table talking to them being like so he's a personal trainer, right? So we're a big enough company. We have a gym in our building, right? Our campus, really. Um, in the basement of one of the buildings, we have like a full-on gym and we have corporate fitness, right? It is there, and we have personal trainers that work. They probably don't work for us. They're probably independent contractors, but still, they obviously they work with our employees. Like they only work in that gym downstairs. So it's one of the trainers, right? He's sitting at the table, sitting at the lunch table with like four people around him, like just fucking holding court. And he's just a fucking tool bag, bro. Every douchey thing that you're imagining in your head about like a bro fitness trainer, that's this guy. So I hear him be like, yeah, so like we got a couple different types of fitness here, right? You got your cardio, you got your strength training, you got your like recreational sports, right? Like you got maybe you do some martial arts, maybe you do some yoga, right? Like all these things. And he goes, "How would you guys rank all these?" And I'm like, "Oh, Jesus fucking Christ." So he's like going around being like, "What would you rank, fucking Jessica, right? What would you rank top to bottom?" And he goes, "Oh, Steven, what would you rank top to bottom?" Right? He's like, got all these people ranking. He goes, "Yeah, so like, really, you're gonna put strength training at the top, right?" And he goes, "Then, you know, you got some other stuff." And I forget like all the other things. There was like five or six different categories that he listed, right? And at the very bottom, what do you think? What do you think the last one that he listed that he said is not important at all?
Most likely cardio.
Yep, that's exactly right. He was like, "Yeah, cardio, I mean, it's not really that important, right? Like you can kind of get by without it." And I'm like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, dude, what is this guy doing? What the fuck is this guy doing?" Right? Like again, these are people that work for a large financial institution, right? Like they are mostly sedentary, right? You sit at a desk 7 to 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. Maybe you're a little bit active outside of that and maybe a little bit on the weekend. But by definition, if you have a desk job, you fall under the category that is mostly sedentary. Like the easiest thing for people to do is just walk, right? Like do some sort of cardiovascular activity. But this guy's like basically telling them that cardio is a waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I hate talking about this stuff. And it's like sometimes it's a blessing that I mostly just do performance training with kids because it's very cut and dry, like what's happening here.
Yeah,
But yes, I mean, this is the thing. It's like if you said right now, like, hey, I need you to make an argument for cardio. Like, yeah, I can make it. And like, okay, I need you to make an argument against it. Well, I could make that argument too. Like, I could tell you why I could make a compelling argument why your coworkers shouldn't. But I could also make a compelling argument why they should. I could make a compelling argument, say there were five categories. I could make a compelling argument for any number. I could make it one, two, three, four, or five, and I could make a compelling argument as to why it is there and not.
right.
That's the thing is you can't just make any claim. Like you can't put strength at one without a qualifier as to why.
Right.
And you can't put cardio at five was without and like that's the thing is like there was no I don't know. I doubt he went into it further.
He did not.
But it's
He did
like
not.
putting cardio at five and saying like, hey, it's not really that necessary. I'm like, I could defend that if you want me to. I could do it.
Yeah.
It's like whether I believe it or not, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But like, it's not like this is why people are confused. Because then it's like, well, you don't know who's in front of you and what they want to accomplish. Because it's like if someone wants to really, really run a 5K because it's a charity event for someone they knew that maybe had something and it's super beneficial. Well, then all of a sudden, a nice and again, it depends on how far out we are, but you know, a progression of strength in cardio is very important. And I would argue that fucking martial arts and shit is useless, which that's also an odd thing to throw in there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know, I know.
That's a really odd, like, that's just a weird thing to put in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that should be five. so truthfully, in the ranking, that should be five every time because it's such a niche thing.
Yeah,
Like nobody needs to do martial arts.
no,
And I would also say yoga should be four because no one needs those things.
right, right.
Now, if you choose to use it, fine. But yeah, it's just like an odd thing. But yeah, again, it's like none of this is black and white and none of this is easy. Because then I could say, someone that wants to improve in golf. It's like, okay, cardio, pretty fucking low down on the totem pole there.
Yeah, no, for sure, right? But like my point is you have to know your audience. And the audience is, listen, the four people that were sitting at that table look like they never really picked up a weight before, right? If I put it
Yeah.
that way.
But dude, you know the drill. Like, do you want me to defend that the trainer? I'll do it right now.
No,
And
I mean I know you
I'll make it
can,
sound
right?
like
And I know I get it, right? I understand it. But you can't sit there and tell people that cardio is worthless when they're overweight and they just want to lose weight. Like
right. And then
you
I'm
you
also
ranked you
thinking,
ranked martial arts higher than cardio.
yeah,
Like
that's my thing. That's
you're
like
a fucking moron.
that was an odd thing to put
If
in
you want
there.
to if you want to get into the yeah, obviously strength training builds muscle, muscle has a higher resting metabolic rate, therefore you're burning more calories at rest and yada yada. You want to get into that? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Go for it, dude. But don't sit there and tell people that sit at a fucking desk 8 hours a day that barely do anything, that all they want to do is try and lose a little bit of weight and feel a little bit better, that cardio is fucking worthless. Because what's the easiest thing that they're going to do? Are you going to get the person, right, that's 42 years old, that's never lifted a weight a day in their life, that's maybe 30 pounds overweight, but they really just want to lose like 10 to 15 pounds to like feel good again? Are you going to get them to take a 20-minute walk after dinner every night? Or are you going to get them in the gym 3 to 5 times a week lifting weights? What's more likely that they're going to do? It's more likely that they're going to walk 20 minutes after dinner every day, right? Like you just don't be fucking retarded, dude. Like it's not that hard.
Again, you can defend the man if you want me to.
No, I don't want you
That's the
to
thing because
because it's scenario based, right? And again, I know you
it
didn't
is
see the people, but the people
correct.
that were sitting at this desk, there wasn't a 24-year-old guy that was in pretty good shape, right? That was like just kind of looking to maybe get a personal trainer while he's at work because it's like slightly subsidized by our company instead of going to like a fitness together, right? Like these people were not that. They were moderately to severely overweight. And the youngest one was probably in their late 30s, right? They spanned up to probably like 60. And again, I get it. I understand. I did it. I did the same. I did the school. I know the strength training is important. I get it. But for someone that's in their 50s that's overweight, what are you going to get them to start with? Should the goal be strength training? Yeah, probably should be. But how are you going to get them to start, right? And stick with it? Because if you put them in the gym 4 days a week lifting weights, how sustainable is that for them? Not very.
Yeah, maybe not with our man, but
Yeah, and definitely not with our man.
perhaps these people, because they've never done anything, walking isn't a good strategy for them because it relies on them to do it. But if they have an appointment or if they have a time frame to show up and do things at the gym,
Well,
perhaps.
he wasn't trying to sell them on personal training
No, I know.
either.
I'm just saying. So so because we do work with, I don't know, adults are maybe 20% what we do. Um, and I know that the people that come to us aren't walking after dinner 20 whatever minutes because it would require them to have the discipline and the schedule. That's the biggest thing. The schedule to do it on their own.
Right.
And especially like a walk, right? anything that gets in the way. And it's usually like worked late, train ran late, extra traffic today. Kids got this, kids got that. They have a young kid just decided he was going to puke everywhere. But if um at 6 a.m. I'm going. Uh, my wife, husband is home or the mother-in-law is home, like whatever, and then they go. Like that sometimes is better than saying walking because then it's like these people. I'm like, hey man, you need to like I got a guy, right? He had a heart blockage that was able to be solved with medication. And he likes to ski, but he is Captain Excuses, right? Captain Excuses. Always finds something else. Always finds a justification in his head. It's like, oh, well, I was digging posts for a fence that I was going to build myself. So it's like, I didn't come in last week because I was sore from the previous weekend of doing it, and then I needed to be fresh for the next weekend of doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like, oh, but I was digging all those holes. I'm like, yeah, but that's not
Yeah.
anyway. So he has a blockage and like has to address it, whatever. And then he comes in. We spend like 40 fucking minutes at 6:30 in the morning, not even training yet. Him walking this through me, or like him walking the whole situation through me.
Yeah.
And I told him, I'm like, listen, I can handle your strength. Like I go, that heart rate stuff that you're talking about, I go, your only prayer is one, you have to do it on your own. I go, if you want to actually lower your resting heart rate, I go, I can't do that for you. I go, you have to do it. Because I
Right.
also know that he's once a week with me sometimes,
Yeah.
twice a week last week. He was once the week before that. We'll probably get one or two this week, and then I'm sure something's coming up. Like
Yeah.
this is how it goes.
Right. Right.
Um, and I'm like, I go, do you want to take a walk? He goes, probably won't take a walk. But I got the whatever the bike at home. I go, okay. I go, so you got your Fitbit, whatever. And I'm like, I think I did the math and I'm like, 100. That's it. Like on your heart rate. That's it. I go,
Yeah.
no higher, 90 to 100. I go, just so you know, 90 is like nothing. I go, this is
Yeah.
going to be super fucking easy.
Yeah.
Do you think he has done one bike ride in 12 weeks?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
But do you think that he thinks bacon is the only thing that is going to create a new blockage or anything like that?
Well, yeah, of
Has not
course.
eaten bacon since he went in.
Yeah.
So what makes people tick is the hardest part of this whole thing. And that's like a lot of people like say to me, it's like, oh, I need it, whatever. I'm like, do you just take a walk? Like, yeah, yeah, that's easy. I can do that. Never happens
Yeah.
because it's almost too easy. It's too easy. It's always accessible. And it's like you have a gym in the basement, right?
Hmm.
Now I know you have a child, so you have to kind of separate that for a second. So you could argue working out has never been uh more accessible to you, right?
Correct.
Like the lowest barrier, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, again, I know the kid really fucks my example up, but also because it's always there, it's very easy to not do it.
Yeah.
Um, but that whole like mini rant on just about walks doesn't make for good lunchtime banter, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other piece. And then it's like, never mind. It's like my approach is from an individual side of things. So what is the most important for, let's just use a golfer in their mid 50s. Like kids are out of the house. They like playing golf. They're still working. They're not retired yet. Well, is it going to be cardio? Well, I don't know. It could be someone that's like, man, I just really, really want to walk the golf course. And it's like, I'm just beat. I'm beat by hole 12. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, well, you need to go for some long fucking walks, or you
Right.
need to walk the golf course. You need to walk 9 holes every day, or like 3 times for
Right.
like 2 weeks, and then whatever. And then some people are like, my lead shoulder just rotator cuff, it's just fucking junk. And it's like, well, they got no rotation. It's like they go, I would play way more, except my right shoulder kills. It's like, all right, well, that person needs mobility. Now, I would say it's like, well, you need all of it. But
Right.
if you just get their mobility going, whatever. And so it's like, there is no best and worst,
Yeah,
in
no, I
my
know.
opinion, for anybody.
There's no silver bullet, right?
And that's like
But
what
when you're
makes
going
the
to speak in
conversation.
generalities, you can't put cardio last. That's all I'm saying. Is you can't put it last. You
Because,
cannot put it below
well,
martial
again, it's
arts.
like you got to throw martial arts and yoga out of there. But if you told me it's strength training, it's mobility, it's cardio, or it's, I don't know, recreational activities. Recreational activities would be golf, 5Ks,
Yeah.
pickleball,
Martial
whatever.
arts and yoga.
Martial arts and yoga would be recreational activities, in my opinion, because I'm giving mobility its own thing. I
Yeah.
guess yoga could be a strategy of mobility, but it's kind of sort of not. It really, really depends on the place, class, instructor, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the thing. It's like you can't even, in my opinion, you also can't even defend anything. Like that's the thing is like even these people who I've never met, I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, maybe you can get rid of cardio completely. Now again, but I don't know. I don't know who these people are, or what they want. Like
Right.
I might think for deaf people, mobility is the most important because that's even easier than cardio, right?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't even take
Yeah. But
20,
if
30
people are trying to
minutes.
lose weight, they're not going to lose weight doing mobility work.
Correct. They're not. But they're not gonna, so they're also not gonna lose weight the fit with the way that, in my opinion, they're also not gonna lose weight the way that they think they are just by doing cardio or just by lifting weights.
Right.
They need to, that's a nutrition conversation, which that's a whole nother
Well,
fucking
that's
thing.
funny you bring that up because someone asked the question about nutrition and he was like, "Yeah, well, nutrition, you got this whole thing. There's a lot of different stuff." And he like gives a little bit here and there and he goes, "But I can't really get into that because of legality reasons." And then he like goes on.
So
But
you
so
can't, so
my thing is just the way he said it. Again,
because he doesn't know it.
my whole
He
point
doesn't
of
know
this
it.
is this
That's
guy's
what
a
that
fucking
is.
retard, right? That's all I'm trying to say, right? It's a lot. I'm not trying to like, have a philosophical debate on whether strength training is more beneficial for cardio, for weight loss, and all that other shit. I don't give a shit about that. My point is this guy's a fucking moron, and
Maybe he pays all his bills on time.
he works as a corporate
Maybe he's
fitness
nice to
personal
his mother and
trainer
old people
at
and
my job.
dogs.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a nice guy, right? Like you said, I'm sure he pays his bills on time and
Might
he
even
plays
donate
with
to
dogs.
charity.
Yeah, but he's a fucking moron when it comes down
Volunteers
to it.
at a school for kids with special needs.
Sure, he does. Good for him.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? Knows enough to be dangerous, but not enough because the legality argument isn't about nutrition advice, it's about giving out nutrition plans.
Exactly.
Or trying to treat medical conditions.
Right.
That's the legality. You can't, as a personal trainer, you can't give out a meal plan, legally speaking. But
Right.
we all know there's millions of short bald dudes that give them out for bodybuilders and powerlifters and
Yeah.
whatever else.
I mean,
Um,
we used to sell them and we put on them for informational purposes only.
yeah, and again, that's the other piece too. It's like, oh, these are all just suggestions.
Yeah.
But if you don't do it, I'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, my other problem, because it's like, again, our man is presenting himself as someone who knows what he's talking about, and he's not. And I think that's the biggest flaw is claiming to be an authority that clearly we are not.
Right.
Because even if he believes that like again, like I told you, I can make the compelling argument, and even if I believe that or not, at least I fucking have enough awareness not to go down that rabbit hole without actually discussing specifics with individuals.
Yeah.
And um but yeah, I mean, he just doesn't even know. I just don't think he knows enough to know the bigger picture.
No, he for
And
sure
that
does not.
and that's the dangerous part with a lot of these people. Like a lot of these people at like a commercial gym, or the ones that kind of don't really know, like it's like, oh, that person doesn't know what they're doing, whatever. And it's like, yeah, but they probably don't even know that they don't know what they're doing. And it's like
Yeah, yeah.
you got to big brain this thing. Like it's very like, and that's the other piece is like, it would be super like, the best example I have is someone's like, yeah, I'm trying to get ready for a bodybuilding show. I'm like, not your guy.
Yeah.
I am not your guy one bit.
Yeah.
But some people will be like, oh, okay, yeah, like I know hypertrophy, like we can do hypertrophy training. It's like, you have no idea. Because I
Yeah.
know that I have no idea, and I know that most people have no clue.
Right. Right. So, yeah. Big dummy over there in fucking corporate fitness, the gym at my job.
I hope he volunteers at dog shelters and you're talking shit about him.
I hope he does too, because he's got to make up for being a fucking moron.
How do you
So,
make up for it?
I don't. I just accept it. I also don't make sweeping generalities as if I know everything. I'll tell you, listen, man, I don't know. There's not really much I know about that, but
What do we do here
yeah, this is
besides
us.
sweeping generalities that probably aren't true?
Well, this isn't a fact-based show. We say that all the
Correct.
time. That's our disclaimer. What we say are not based on facts.
Maybe he's not a fact-based trainer. Ever think about things?
What a fantastic trainer.
Remember, it's a science, not a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's a science. Yeah. Science is ever changing. That's right. That's right. You can eat 100 calories of cake or you can eat 100 calories of salad.
Same 100 calories.
Fucking guy.
Actually, no,
He's got to be dead at this
the
point,
cake
right?
was better post-workout. That was the example.
What was his first name?
Yeah.
Edward Braun. Is it bad to type in Edward Braun obituary?
And you're gonna find it. That dude's living forever. He's gonna haunt those hallways.
Where did he live? Did he live in Bridgewater?
No clue. Bob working today?
Huh, Ellen working today? Well, he is retired. He's listed he's listed at the BSU website still as Professor Emeritus of Health and
He's
Kinesiology.
not going anywhere.
Dude, he was 80 15 years ago.
So some would call that 95 now.
That's insane. He's still on the website. I mean, that's what Professor Emeritus means, right? It means retired.
I would assume Professor Emeritus is an honorary thing. Like he's not actually working, but
Yeah.
still holds a distinction.
Yeah.
Or just honestly, it probably just gives him the ability to roam the building.
Bobby's still there.
Of
Good
course
old
he is.
Haslam.
He's not going anywhere either.
Yeah, faculty emeriti. Marsha Anderson, Edward Braun, Huber is there. Famous Amos and Quimby.
These people
Quim
just won't leave.
no,
They just won't. I don't
they
get it. If I was any of those people at that age on a state pension, there's no chance you would find me near Bridgewater State University.
Yeah, no way. You know what's wild? I mean, I don't know when this is a newer website, so it's been updated. But Dr.
Oh,
Richardson,
Trinit? No, what was it?
the
Because this was
intranet,
the big shift as I was the intranet, right?
yeah, the intranet. Um, but no, I mean, this is a newer website. It's not the same website that we had when I was there. So in, 10 years ago. Um, but Dr. Richardson is listed as the acting chairperson of health and kinesiology. She was the acting chairperson of health and kinesiology
When I was in grad
15 years
school.
ago.
So, yeah, I mean, I know it cycles, but when I was in grad school, I had to do my defense with her.
Yeah. Well, no, no, no. She was the chair. She was the grad chair. So she was the chairperson of the graduate program. She was
Oh.
the acting chairperson for the undergraduate program.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just one big rotation, though.
Yeah, but that's just hilarious that 10 years later, she's still the acting chairperson.
What's the thing? Like, but there's only
Like, who
like there's only
left? But
but
that's
there's
what I
only like
mean.
10.
Who left to make her, who left that was the chairperson that now she's the acting, right? And is she just the default every time there's a chairperson that leaves the school? Well, Karen can be the acting chairperson again, right?
Well, I
Like
mean, who better?
she's done it
She's
like
done it
six
7 times.
times. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, right? It's like, well, like who the fuck keeps leaving? And who gets voted as the chairperson and then leaves so that she has to be the acting chairperson?
Well, it also could have been a step down situation. Like, yeah, I don't want to be chairperson anymore.
Yeah, no, that's
Resign.
fair. Yeah. Because I mean, Rosenthal right now is the graduate chair.
Which, yeah, she was the undergrad at one point. Like again, there's like 10 people that work full time in this department, so it's like
Yeah.
you need two per year, and they don't like to keep like a dictatorship going. So it's like
Yeah.
they gotta spin it around. So it's like every
Well,
4 years, like someone's gonna
Wu
have one of them.
Wu was the undergraduate chairperson when I was working there, like actually teaching, because he's the one that fired me.
Yeah, but you usually don't get like a 10-year term of that thing.
No, no,
You
I
get
think it's
like,
two to 4 years or something like that.
yeah, it's like, yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely not more than like,
Because
yeah, 2 to 4.
Shihai was the undergraduate chair when I was in grad school because she's the one that hired me. So I had Shihai in grad school. She was my research professor. So I had her for that class. And then when I graduated from grad school, I was talking to her and I knew Matt McLaughlin worked there. And I was like, oh, yeah, if you ever need any courses taught, like whatever, just let me know. And she goes, funny, you should say that. I have a couple that you could teach. And I was like, that's amazing. So that's how I got hired as a adjunct or visiting lecturer or whatever the fuck I was. Was the person that was the undergraduate chair I developed a good relationship with her because she was my research teacher in grad school. So like we worked together quite a bit. So she thought I was good enough to teach there. But then Wu said
At
that
least she was wrong.
I wasn't qualified enough. And I go, well, fucking, I went through this program. What does that say about your own program? So yeah, it's just funny to me that I just happened to look and Dr. Richardson is the acting undergraduate chair again.
It's like every time you need an interim head coach, it's always the same dude.
Yeah, yeah. All right. You want to wrap this up?
We can wrap this up.
What do you got?
For all, I mean, if all is according to plan, I should be putting a deposit down to go to Dublin in September.
Sweet.
Michaela and I will go for a week. Now, for as much of an Italian fucking Goomba that I am, I effectively know nothing about Ireland. So it was funny. Uh, the guy who recommended also my financial advisor, actually he's retiring, but my financial advisor emeritus, gave me my Italian travel agent, which I was super happy with. So he gave me this Irish one. And I reached out and I'm like, this isn't exactly what I'm looking for. And I don't know if I'm spoiled, but it was like, they'll book the tours, they'll book the hotel, but like in Italy, we had transfers from plane to hotel, hotel to train, train to hotel. Like all of that was booked for us. Um, we're gonna go to Belfast for a night, so I'm like, we gotta get there by train, question mark. Because I'm not getting a car. I'm not driving in Ireland.
No, you have to get
And
like a special international license and everything. They
honestly,
also,
I didn't even think about that. I just don't want to drive on the wrong side of the road
well, that
and the
was the
wrong side of the
second
car.
part. It's the wrong side of the car, wrong side of the road.
Because Italy was right side of the or a correct side of the car and right side of the road. So it's like, yeah, they drive like fucking lunatics and the roads are like fake in a way. So it's like I don't
Yeah.
really want to drive in Italy and I probably won't ever. But like I definitely don't want to drive in Ireland. And Michaela doesn't
Yeah.
want she's been to the West Coast before, so it's like she definitely doesn't want to drive. So I'm like, I want everything kind of like taken care of for me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I got spoiled because when she sent back, it was like all these tours look pretty cool and whatever. But it was like, yeah, we're not getting you train tickets and transportation's not provided. And I'm like, perhaps I'm spoiled or my expectations are in the wrong place. But I'm like, if I have to book transfers and train tickets and negotiate all this shit, I'm like, why don't I just handle it all then? Because I'm like, the tours are the big thing and the hotels are correct, but I'm like, those are the easiest things to book.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. And then I'm at work going on my rant, whatever. And one of the guy goes, I got a stupid question for you. He goes, why don't you just go back to the other travel agent? And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, it's called Italy exclusive vacations. I'm like, we're not going to Italy. He goes, see if they'll do it. Go on the website. It's like, yeah, they pretty much, it's like, yeah, even though we're like, Italian specialists, whatever, it's like, yeah, we'll do whatever. So I reached out. I was like, yeah, I saw on the website you guys do other cities. I'm like, we're looking to do this. She goes, yeah, absolutely. Just send me what you want to do. I'm like, okay. So plan is to go for a week in
Nice.
September. But
It's a little bit easier of a
um
flight than Italy, right? Would it save about 3 hours?
it's 6. So Italy was 8 hours there, 9 hours back, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It must be like 6 and 5 or 6 and 5.5 or
Yeah,
something.
it's just like going to
So
California.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so it's a little bit easier. We'll fly JetBlue, so that's a little bit easier too, or a little bit more familiar. It's not easier
You're
or
not going to go
harder.
Aer Lingus?
No, I mean we can book through JetBlue for Aer Lingus, but I don't know. I mean, we both JetBlue card holders, Mosaic. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
no, I'm just being a cunt.
may as well just fly it. I mean, so that's the thing. Is like the only reason I give a shit about the airline is just because I have the credit card and the
Right.
Mosaic status.
Right.
Otherwise, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I might have to brush up on a little bit of my Ireland knowledge because I know nothing.
Did they speak
And
Romansh?
Belfast was like the fucking war zone for all of whatever the fuck they did at that time. So we're going there and like seeing some of that shit. So like, I guess I have to brush up on my
Irish English
modern
history.
Irish history, I guess.
Yeah, somewhat modern.
Well, it's modern because that fucking the the Protestant Catholic shit was in like the 60s.
Well, yeah. I know that, but like it went all the way back through like the late 1700s, I think, 1800s when it started. It just continued. It just continued for a really long time
Yeah. Mm.
until
And
modern
I
day.
think that will be the brunt of what we're doing in Belfast. 'Cause we have one tour. We're
Yeah,
going to do one night and we only have one tour in
because it
Belfast,
was
so
King George, Henry. I don't know. It was one of the whatever king
they're all
of
George or Henry.
yeah, whatever I know, whatever king of England wanted to divorce his wife and couldn't. That's when they split the I almost called it the papacy. They split the crown from Catholicism because they wouldn't support divorce. So he was like, fuck you, I'll create the Church of England. And then that's kind of what started the whole Protestant Catholic divide,
Wasn't it Martin Luther? Or are you talking about the divide specifically in Ireland?
specifically in Ireland.
Oh, okay, okay. I was
Yeah,
saying, 'cause I'm
no,
pretty sure Martin Luther started the Protestant
no. That was the whole
thing.
like 99 Truth thing, but that was in like the 1600s, I think.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was something like that.
yeah.
I don't know.
No. This was a little bit more recent. This was in like the
Italians,
17, 1800s.
Italians do not like Martin Luther.
Yeah, the 99 truths. Yeah, the 99 truthful of shits.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever it was.
Yeah,
They would only hate him more, I think, if he was French.
probably.
I think he was
Wasn't he
German.
German?
I think he was German.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think two of our tour guides mentioned Martin Luther and like, without motherfucking him, basically motherfucked him.
It was the 1500s. He died in 1546, Martin Luther.
Yeah, I was gonna say because he started the Protestant Reformation or whatever, or the Great Schism, or I don't know. I don't know my terms. I don't.
That was the 95 Theses. That's what it was. That was printed or published or whatever the fuck. It wasn't printed. Maybe it was. I don't know. I don't know when the printing press came around.
Pretty sure it was written and then he nailed it to the door of some church. I don't know which church.
Yeah,
There's a billion churches.
that was 1517.
Which
The
church was it?
the 95 Theses. So, I mean, to be fair, he wasn't right. He wasn't wrong about everything that he put in there. He was going
Oh,
after the Catholic Church for
no, I
like the
think
selling of like indulgences and shit. He was
that
like,
was the biggest one.
yeah,
And it like at that time it was out of fucking control.
yeah,
I mean, I don't think it got much better because then it was like all the art and shit that happened. But
right.
um oh, Pope Leo X out of the Medici family. I would love to know which church. Also, I don't know if I'm making that up. I'm fairly certain he fucking banged it on the door of somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
I'm not seeing it. I'm trying to look.
that would be probably a chat GPT thing, 'cause it's not just
Yeah,
coming at me.
yeah. Um, Let me see. Let's ask ChatGPT. Where
Oh, it
did
was on a press.
it was what on a printing press?
A university press.
Ah, hang his 95 theses. Theses. How the fuck do you spell theses?
It's like feces, but with S's and
Uh,
THs.
Traditionally, it is claimed Martin Luther has to have nailed his 95 Theses to the door of Wittenberg Castle Church
Oh,
in Wittenberg, Germany. So, I mean, makes
Germany.
sense. He was German. Um, but speaking of that sort of world, or that part of the world, I should say, my final thought goes along with that. So, I was got my hair cut a few days ago, and I got going to a new barber because the guy I was going to before moved to Norton. Um, so I'm literally going to the guy who works in the chair next to him. Like, so I just go to him now. But he's this older guy. He's Lebanese, super nice guy. We're just shooting the shit. He's asking like, "Oh, what do you do?" Talking construction, right? All that stuff. He was telling me about how they just bought the new building in Norton, and that's where the guy Eric that I was going to went over there and all that. Start talking about how like, it's impossible to get everything done. I tell him about all the bullshit and all the permitting and red tape in California and shit like that. And then we start talking about houses, right? And he goes, and he's got like he speaks very like broken English, right? He's from Lebanon, right? He's probably in his early 50s, right? Like he's got a decent amount of gray hair. Um, but he goes, it's funny that, people build houses over here and they don't last, right? And, we're talking about how all that shit, and it got brought up because I was like, oh, yeah, we redid my house. It was built in like 1860 and it was built on 2x3s instead of 2x4s. And he's like, yeah, it's funny that like everything in America is built out of wood. I go, yeah, what do you mean? And he goes, my grandparents' house in Lebanon is 600 years old. He goes, it's built out of stone.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And then I immediately go, that's something that people don't consider over here. So like, I know, yeah, whatever. We find out it through history and bones and shit that like there were humans here like 10,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, obviously, right? I'm sure there was someone here. It wasn't just completely vacant land. But America has only been around for, you know, 250 years. Um, Maybe you count a little bit before that. Call it 300 years for European settlements, right? Obviously, before that, you had the Native Americans who didn't really build houses and skyscrapers and shit like that. But we take for granted, right? Like an old house, right? Like, oh, my house was built in 1860. Like, oh, yeah, dude, it's 150 years ago. Like, that's such an old house. This country's not that old. This country's only been around for, 250 to 300 years. Lebanon is in the Middle East. Right? The place we talk about all the time where they've been fighting for thousands of years.
It's like,
That means the people have lived there for thousands of years, right? Like it just was one of those things that blew my mind when he said, I mean, obviously his grandparents are dead, but he said like my grandparents' house back in Lebanon is 600 years old and it's built out of stone. That's just like not something that we ever would consider over here. And like obviously we never run into it. But
yeah. Well, so it's a double-edged sword because it's so you're right, the houses don't last. Our shit isn't old enough to kind of figure it out. But stone and brick and whatever, it's very impractical in modern
right.
culture,
Oh yeah, for sure.
both in terms of the cost of it, the knowledge of like the labor force,
Right.
and for having plumbing, electrical,
Yeah.
you can't use that.
Right.
Like it's
Right.
extremely impractical. So that's like it's always like or it's interesting like, seeing some of these places like like in Florence, the guy was telling us, he's like, "Oh yeah," he goes, "This is like 1300s. Some of these buildings were built and they're
Yeah.
still like in use."
Yeah.
But remember when the people in England were bitching about the heat wave and it was only going to be
Yeah.
like 79?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was like one of their arguments. They were like, "Yeah, but all our houses are made of brick." So it's like once it gets hot, it's holding the heat.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I mean, I wish there was like a happy medium, but for US life, it's just doesn't,
Yeah.
just kind of doesn't work.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to build out of fucking stone.
No, because even like even brick houses, which those are on their way out, but even brick houses, they're not, they're still
It's brick
wood studs.
faced, right? Like it's the exterior is brick and that's it. Like the whole house isn't built out of brick.
The one thing that's interesting, and I don't know, maybe it's a cost problem, but like you know, how well, I'll stop myself. But I'm surprised more houses aren't made out of metal studs. Now, I'm sure there's a reason why, but like obviously all commercial buildings are.
Right.
And again, I'm sure it's cost, but like that's like another piece. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to hang shit on the studs, but like house wouldn't burn as easy.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it did catch on fire,
The studs would
the studs
last.
would stay. Yeah, or they would last longer than wood, obviously. Yeah, as long as a plane doesn't hit your house and burn up the jet fuel in your basement, it shouldn't melt the steel studs, right?
It
Because
should be okay.
yeah, it should be okay. Shout out to 9/11.
We get those missing pages yet? I
Not yet. Um, but yeah,
mean, the
yeah, it
ones that
was
don't exist.
yeah. It was just like I said, it was just one of those like weird little things where you just don't we don't think about that over here, right? And he was saying like where their house is, it's like in the hills, right? It's like kind of in the middle of nowhere. Saying like the roof is like a fucking, I think their roof now it's been upgraded, but he goes there's huts, right? Like in the village wherever, his grandparents grew up. Like there's mud roofed homes and shit. But I mean, that's the shit you run into when a place is thousands of years old.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like almost unfathomable. Like so in just to put a bow on it, one of the newer uh monument, I don't know, attractions, I don't know, site. We'll go with site. One of the newer sites in Rome was this big, and most people don't like because it looks like shit. This big, gaudy fucking victory monument, the Vittoriano or whatever. And it was built in like 1860, 1880, something like that. And like
Yeah,
that's new for
yeah,
them. But like, and it's 1800 years older,
right,
sorry, younger than a lot of the standing monuments.
right.
Like the Colosseum has been fucked up for like 500 years before that shit was built.
Yeah,
And it's just like unfathomable. Like because what's Iraq? Iraq was Babylon, right? Ancient Babylon.
yeah,
So like present day Iraq, like if anything is still standing, which I doubt, but it's like that's like thousands of years BC. Like
yeah,
thousands.
yeah,
It's unfathomable how old some of this shit is. And then in like the US, it's like, what could we even visit that's that old?
yeah. Nothing.
I don't know much. Like I'd have to do some actual research. Like
The
is
Rock. We go
well
to
what
go to Plymouth Rock.
yeah. New Orleans, the cathedral, we didn't go, but it's probably like St. Louis Cathedral. Like, is that old? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe 1800s,
That's kind of what I was
early
thinking.
early
Maybe
1800s.
late 1700s.
Yeah.
I'm sure we have. So I'm sure there's more shit in the country that I'm thinking of that was like late 1700s, like when some of these places were settled, by other
Maybe
like the
Monticello or like Mount Vernon.
I don't even know what those are. Oh, Mount Vernon in Virginia, where George
Yeah,
Washington
Mount
lived.
Vernon was where George
Okay,
Washington
I
lived
do
in,
know Mount Vernon. I've
and
been there.
Monticello was where George Jefferson. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we're moving on up. Thomas Jefferson, where Thomas Jefferson lived. That's so bad. Uh, so yeah, like maybe those are probably some of the oldest places. I mean, then you have the Plymouth Rock.
Although I think if you look for it, it's there. Like New Mexico's got some old shit from Native Americans.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, like the earliest you're getting. Oh, the Thomas Bourne House in Marshfield, Mass, 1639, 1600s. I probably should have fucking thought about that for a second. Like, there's probably shit in Medford that dates to like the 16th something. It's obviously been rebuilt a million times, but
right, right. Yeah, like down by the river
yeah, so that's down the
in
river,
a
man.
van.
Fully.
But I mean, that was like the area. Like Medford Square was basically like that's where they built all the ships. People forget it's a clipper ship city
Yep.
down by the river.
Yeah, so even that shit that's that old, 400, 375 years, something like that.
Yeah,
People's homes are older than that, like significantly older than that.
yeah, yeah. It's insane. So that's gonna do it for us. So thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe up above, hit the thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you're an audio only guy as well. Leave us a review on Spotify and iTunes. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is Sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. Check out the show notes, support the sponsors, support us. And until next time, good night, everybody.